What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and I hope you're feeling ready to get things in order because we got this moon in Virgo, and I feel like this can be, I feel Virgo always gets this rap of being just kind of a boring sign. They're always like, it's about routine, it's about your health, and I feel like there's so much more. There's a way more mystical side of Virgo that we're going to talk about today, and I think of looking at it as instead of looking at what routines you want to incorporate in your day, what rituals are you trying to incorporate? What are some things, acts of self-care that we're working into? That's what Virgo's really about there. But and oof, I got some thoughts on this. But before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel, this is a channel for those of you if you happen to have Cancer placement or any planets or points in the sign of Cancer, or if you want to sync up with the moon, because the moon really is a great marker and a great guide for manifesting. You see things through. You start at the new moon, you set that seed, you watch it grow, gets to the full moon, the stuff's in bloom, and then you got to start trimming some things, making some space for the next stuff to come in. So learning to sync up with the lunar cycles can be very beneficial for you and be a very effective way for getting into the flow of manifestation, and then learning to work with your moon sign too in the whole chart. But yes, so that's if you're curious and all that, I've got all that and more for you. But I talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, when she's going void. Of course, it's just nothing but lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a 1-to-1. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Yeah, that felt a lot better. I'm trying to get into this thing sidebar. I'm trying to get into this thing where I'm just like, okay, you record the video and that's it. And I almost made it, but man, I was really serving up a hot plate of word salad. So I was like, let's try that again. That one felt a lot smoother. So you're welcome, Cancer. And also, your space has been cleansed. Crystals. Yeah, now we're in the flow. Feeling. Oh, yeah, look at that. Feeling lovely. All right, just great angel around here, Cancer. Get my second wind here. And depending on when you're watching this, happy Monday. It's Moon Day. The moon is associated with Mondays, and this can be a really great day for really just kind of tuning into your needs, paying attention to where the moon cycle or where the moon is that day can be really kind of effective way of how to work with that energies. I find that I feel like on a moon day, the moon's energy are definitely especially kind of heightened then. So paying attention to how you're receiving energies, how your energy is coming across to others can be something to observe while you're going through this moon day. This can be a day for taking care of the house. I actually just did some did some house cleaning not too long ago. Man, that felt really nice. That's a thing too. I feel like kind of checking into your rituals, like we were talking about, because the moon can set aside. Like I like to do right before or right around the time of the new moon, really preferably beforehand. Try to really kind of clean up the space. Do like a real kind of deep clean. What if I've been kind of putting off it? It was perfect that when I'm recording this, it fell on a Saturn day. So I was like, you know what? Let's tackle that stove. Let's get the bathrooms. Let's get the sink. All those things. So moon days can be a great day for just getting yourself in order, getting in tune with your rhythm, with your cycle. And now let's talk about your cycle. Speaking of the moon entered into Virgo. Thanks, Divine Self. Entered into Virgo at about 2:16 p.m. and that'll be Pacific time. And she's in a waxing crescent phase. And these next couple of days are going to be a busy one for the moon. She's going to be making 5 aspects with excuse me. I like to work with the traditional planets when I'm doing with this. So those are the planets that you can see, the lights, the sun and the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So when I'm doing this stuff, is it based off from that? But we do have a pretty busy, I feel like, couple of days. Could be a lot of ups and downs and swings that can happen here, because with Virgo, all these planets, we have a lot of mutable energy going on. Mercury really plays a big influence over these next couple of days, and considering that Mercury just went retrograde, take a moment and take a beat and just kind of examine what you need in order to just to function throughout the day. Just see, and I don't want to be a little more specific than that. Virgo, I find there is this kind of mystical side because I've been doing a lot of reading, and there's this I've had this idea that kind of came to my head, and it really is kind of matching up very nicely. There's this thing called the Thema Mundi. Look into that if you get a chance, but it talks about the placements, kind of like the original placements of like the almost like the chart of the universe in a sense, and Virgo would fall in the house of the third, would fall in the third house, which by ancient by ancient standards was, yes, this house of like siblings, was this house of short travels and things. So this can be a great time with the moon being in Virgo to kind of get out, to do some busyness, to kind of be of service to your community, things along those lines. But there was also there's this connotation of dreams that happens with Virgo, and considering that they're on the axis of Pisces being located in the, when you think about that, just based off again off that Thema Mundi placement, that's in the house of God. So there's this axis between the God and Goddess axis that Pisces and Virgo fall on. And Virgo is, if Pisces is, let's say, like the divine revelation, like the actual talking with God, Virgo is the practices, the prayers, the rituals and things that get you connected to it. And so I feel like this is connecting to your inner self here, connecting to your true self. What do you, looking at the things in your life, and do they reflect who you are? And if not, let's say maybe you're noticing that the foods that I'm eating aren't really, they don't feel good with what I want to be. What can I do to work in that? Maybe I need to cook some more stuff for myself. Maybe it's maybe doing less processed meals if that's been the issue. Or maybe this is something where I'm noticing that the body is feeling really stiff or something, so maybe I want to get into a ritual of maybe stretching. Or maybe I'm noticing that my relationships aren't functioning like I want them to. Maybe what are some ways that we can improve that? Let's say there's not any, whatever this could be. How can I improve that sort of thing? That's where Virgo's, that analytical mind, really comes in. And it's not to be this criticizing thing. When we talk about dreams, or I'm talking about with Virgo, I think that energy of perfectionism comes with Virgo, because in your head, you're seeing one thing, but then when you go to manifest it, it's another thing. And it's just like, oh, like that's not what I saw in my head. And it may not be exactly what you think, but the fact that you manifested it, I feel is excuse me, something worth celebrating. Let me get some water real quick. Get into the ritual of hydrating. But I feel that this moon being in Virgo can really help you. One, I feel like kind of be kinder to yourself, to release the expectation, the fact that you're making these efforts towards growth. Let's say you had an idea of what the perfect relationship was, but you get into the relationship, and it's not that it's a bad relationship, but let's say, like most things, sometimes you have ups and downs. You're arguing one minute, someone's doing this, someone's doing that, but there's still love there, and you can still work out the things. Like this relationship can be, and of course, there's a discerning thing that coming with Virgo. Maybe and that's actually something too, that to even kind of think about now that I'm saying that, is looking at things where we had this dream, we keep holding this dream, but every time it tries to manifest, like something doesn't continue, something's not working. This really can be a time to kind of tune into what's not working, because we can really see that with a discerning eye, with Mercury being retrograde in its home sign of Virgo, where it's both domicile and dignified. All this, I just feel like all these things can really kind of help you get stuff in order, get stuff to where you need them to be. Virgo is very organized, very, very methodical, but also very helpful. I feel like this can also be a time where if you happen to, let's say someone happens to is struggling with an idea, and maybe you happen to know, let's say for example you hear someone talking in the store, maybe you're waiting in line and they're just like, maybe they just happen to be talking with the checkout person. They're like, I've been, kind of struggling with these headaches and blah blah blah, and then maybe you just happen to say like, excuse me, I didn't mean to butt in, but I've, if you're looking for something, I know a remedy, the ritual that I like to do. I tend to maybe drink some chamomile tea like right when I feel the headache come on, and that tends to ride this sort of thing. I'll maybe do some dim lights and maybe put a, like an eye, like whatever tips you may have, like just something along those lines to kind of help people. She's dreaming of, in this example, the person is dreaming of wanting to not have these headaches anymore. So it's like you can provide the practice in order to get closer to that dream, if that makes, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I've been kind of doing my mind's been in a kind of, we're piecing together some different things, but there's still that underlying thing with Virgo of being able to get things in order. The fact that what you do on a daily basis can help you get to that dream too. And considering that this moon started with Leo, what I like about Leo is like you find what you value, what really kind of fuels your fire in Leo, and then you can take that into Virgo and take that, figure out what the dream is, and then start taking the steps towards that dream. So let's say this new moon, you wanted to learn the clarinet. Okay, so first I gotta, do I have a clarinet? And then do I know any teachers that can do this clarinet? What are some good books? Where am I gonna get these reeds? Like Virgo can help you help you, okay, these are the things that I'm gonna need to do in order to make this dream happen. I'm gonna need to practice a certain amount of time. I may need to go to whatever this may be like. So just some things to think about with the moon in Virgo and how to maybe work with these energies. But I do want to really bring back home with that dream thing. If you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. And I feel Virgo being mutable earth, they can take what is almost like you take that dream and they can, I don't know, I feel like they can just manifest it really effectively, So, and if you happen to have your moon in Virgo, making sure to take care of your nervous system, I feel, with one, because Virgo can be Mercury ruled, can have that kind of overactive nerves, can be thinking a lot. You could be getting a lot of things, and maybe some of this could be maybe needing to get a bit more sleep, if that's something that is, and not that I feel like you need to sleep a whole bunch, but making sure that you have a regular sleeping schedule. Even if you're someone who happens to get 6 hours, let's say, let's make sure that we're getting a consistent 6 hours. And when we're noticing that it's dipping to the 4 and 5, like, hey, what's up? What's something's off here. But that sort of routine, that sort of ritual can be very helpful, and be where you, if you find yourself going through some sort of emotions and things, just coming back to the day to day. Okay, let me clean up the house. Okay, let me do some prayer. Let me go for a walk. Let me do whatever, get more sleep, whatever this is, in order to get my sense back grounded, to get myself in a state of more equilibrium. Then that's something I think, some things I would think about to tell with someone with a moon in Virgo. And then last thing, let's talk about the void of course energy. Because on Mercury Day, that's Wednesday, the 7th of August, the moon will go void of course at about 2:44 a.m. and then will be void of course until Jupiter Day, the 8th of August, until about 2:31 a.m. So we're looking at about a 23 hour and 47 minute void of course. And this is usually the time where you just take a minute and just kind of, where you take the time and just relax a little bit. This isn't the time to really start up anything. The moon doesn't have any more energy. I like to think of it as she's reflecting on her time in Virgo. And considering the last aspect that she formed, that usually flavors the void of course energy, she's would have formed in opposition with Saturn retrograde. And so that time from the 7th, basically the 7th, let's just say the whole day of the 7th, this is taking the time to look at the things that have manifested in your life. How have things been going? How have you been feeling in your body? How have you been feeling about the things around you, the people kind of around you, the day-to-day kind of chatter, and what's needing to change? What's looking solid, but where, and, is there anywhere that we can improve it? It's not necessarily, I feel like, looking for something that's wrong, but if there's something that you've been, maybe you've noticed that you've been feeling really sore, that you have been getting a lot of headaches, or maybe you have been, whatever this, maybe the relationships haven't been going well, maybe there's been tension in the family, whatever this could be. What are we going to do? Because the Saturn, when we have this kind of opposition with Saturn retrograde, where Saturn in Pisces is understanding of your plight, he also is like, you can, just as this thing has manifested something out, we can change some things. We can set a stricter routine. We can have, a more candid conversation, possibly, if this is something with the relationship, or we can just adjust that health routine or whatever this is. But, I feel this opposition with Saturn kind of gives you more agency. That's interesting. That's what I'm kind of getting with this, and seeing that it may take a little time. You have to, with repetition, Virgo, whatever you started, you have to start up something again. It's not like you can just kind of erase something, but we can build from a mistake. We can just keep building off of these things. But I do feel like that's something, this opposition is going to show that's something that's needing to change, and give it some time, during this, I feel like during the void, of course, that day of the 7th, make sure to not be too harsh on yourself, and I feel like being mindful of being really overcritical of others as well. Instead of, I feel, maybe pointing out like what you could do better, it's like inviting, like, have you thought about doing something like this, or have you thought about doing that, something along those lines. That's another kind of just thing that's kind of coming through there. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And if you're curious about how these energies are working more personally in your chart, you want to understand the moon transits, maybe you have your moon in Virgo, you want to get a lunar return chart, whatever that may look like. And the link down, I have a couple links down in the description box. One is to book a consultation. It's a free consultation to kind of find out what's going on with you, what areas of life you want to focus on, that you're wanting to improve, and then figure out what option would be best for you. I also have down there, I've just started up a new lunar group course thing that I'm going to be doing. We're going to meet together, and it's going to be where we work together for a span of 27 months, and you just pay once, and per lunar cycle. And so I have the first one's going to be in Virgo, and we'll work from the first 9 months will be to the first quarter in Virgo, then another 9 months, the full moon, then the last 9 months is in that last quarter. And it's just like really getting with setting the intention. I feel we're really in a powerful time of manifestation. We have a lot of tools at our disposal, and I find that doing these sort of things in groups can be very supportive as well. So I call it the group's called the Lunar Mansion. So come kick it with me in the Lunar Mansion. I'm going to start posting all things lunar shenanigans, and there's a link to sign up for. I have various different spots available on different days. I'm kind of starting it off small at first to kind of see how it responds, and then just as things grow, we're just going to keep it. I'll add more spots. So but it's meant to be something just like I've been wanting to think about how I would want to change up my rituals, and how I want to put myself more out there in the world, and kind of give more stuff for you all and give us a chance for us more to interact. So if that's something that you're curious in, or if you have questions about that, again, you can check that all down in the description box. DM me on Instagram, LinkedIn, or just set up a consultation call with me. I feel like that'd be the easiest. Let's talk face to face. Now, last little bit here, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situation. But look at this, I'm with it. You got the Omega Dragon here. Look at this divine egg here. This divine egg. I'm almost getting like a cosmic egg of creation here. That's really fascinating. But this is a card of harness the divine feminine power of creation. And this is intention. Hold your vision, birth the higher consciousness. And that's basically what I was kind of talking about with this Virgo energy, where if you've been getting these if you've been noticing like any sort of dreams that have been coming up, pay attention not just to like your sleeping dreams, but pay attention to where you go in your imagination. You know, where do you go on a regular basis? You know, what visions are you holding in your head, and are they affecting the rituals that you do on a daily basis? You know, are you really hatching things from a higher place here? And I feel like this, you know, the harness the divine feminine energy is looking at how you are, you know, how you're receiving things, you know, how you're receiving and interpreting your visions even. You know, is this, you know, are we operating from a divine place, or are we having that, is this over like this overset like ego sense is getting in the way? I feel like there is this, you know, ego has its place, it's meant to be there, but it's when that kind of like, it's like when the consciousness tries to take, or how do I want to put this? It's almost like when the ego self tries to take over the view here. Like I'm not quite sure how to put that. That's, because it feels like that's if you've been having troubles manifesting, or if you've been having troubles making the things that you want possible, there's a need. I feel like there's something here about really taking a real kind of discerning eye with this Virgo energy. Pay attention to like, let me get some tarot on this. Let me see if I can find the words to this. Alrighty. Let's see what's going on here. Interesting. Okay, so you have the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Wands, and the Tower upright, and then you have the Nine of Swords in reverse. Now with this Nine of Swords being here, you know, the Nine of Swords can be this very anxious card, this very kind of nervous energy. And it's giving me kind of this Virgo frequency. This is, oh goodness, the Nine of Swords, that's Mars in Gemini. And I feel like it's, what's the internal chatter that's going on? Have you been operating from the vision that you've been holding? Has it been something that, have you been holding from a place of fear, or have you been, and if so, how can we, Ace of Cups, hold your vision, your intention from a higher place, birth a higher consciousness, set a higher intention to try to get out of this state of fear, to analyze what these really fears are, because we're in a time where this Tower energy, Mars, and speaking of Mars, here's Mars, we're in a time where I feel we have more power of change than I think we've been giving ourselves credit for. And I feel like it's becoming more of a mainstream to kind of change here, to kind of take this sense of power back. I'm getting more than, oh goodness, how do I, this feels like if you're wanting to change things, you can. But I feel like it's having to, maybe the thing that we have to do at first might be something that, like, let's say if you've been in a, you know, this relationship is not working for you, it's not filling up your cups, then we're going to have to make some hard changes, and we're going to have to maybe break up with this thing. Maybe there's something, you know, whatever the circumstances, and maybe you're not sure, because what am I going to do for my place? What am I going to do for this? You know, the what ifs come in. And I feel this Nine of Swords is just like, but it's just like, well, what if you stay in this situation? You know, like, it's just going to, is this, you know, or do we want to entertain the option of another way, of another opportunity here? Because the Knight of Wands is giving me this, almost like a need for a jump start for some things. I'm not quite sure what that. Let me get a clarifier with the Knight of Wands before we move on from this, or get some more on this. Let me see myself. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay. So you have the Five of Wands, or the Two of Wands, or excuse me, the Knight of Wands is cleared by the Knight of. Let's try it one more time. The Knight of Wands is clarified by the Five of Wands, the Two of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the High Priestess here. And so, and this gives me this, like, there's subtle signals that are coming through, I feel, with the High Priestess. The High Priestess is not one that is going to make, she's not one that speaks. Her messages are subtle, is where I'm getting at. And I feel this Two of Swords here, we have a choice that's wanting to be made here, And the Five of Wands, we may have some conflict. We may not be sure how to get to this place, but this vision is calling out with the Knight of Cups. I feel the Knight of Cups, there's this thing where I'm thinking in the traditional one, he's holding this cup, and it looks like he's scrying in the water. He's trying to see where his heart is wanting to take him. That's Scorpio energy for me. And Scorpio, speaking of Mars, this is Mars, where they can battle or can get where life can be tough sometimes, it can throw challenges. That's not meaning, I feel, to bring you down. You're making these changes in order to get to a better side, to get to a more empowered type of side. Here's what I'm getting with that. But let's get a little bit more on this and get some. Let's get some more on this. Let's see what's going on here. And look at that. Who doesn't love a little sun? Thanks, Divine Self. So you got the sun here. So you got the Sun card and the Page of Cups upright, and then you have the Seven of Wands in reverse. Now this Seven of Wands here, this almost gives me this energy of it's almost like the energy of, are the people around you, do you have this dream, and do others like get in the way of you holding that vision, or kind of mess up that intention, that kind of throw off the ritual in a way? And what I would say with the Seven of Wands, it's like, let's say you have this dream, this idea, but yeah, someone has their doubts. They have their, well, what about this? Because the idea may not be perfect yet. You may not be, or not, I want to say perfect. It is perfect because it's the fact that you're dreaming of it. But let's say that it's still it's in that nascent phase. It's still an egg. It's still, the egg is still, the egg is still forming. So, and then someone's just like, well, what about this? What about this? Well, I'll know when I get the divine guidance on it, when I get the vision for it. And I feel that people don't do that on purpose. I feel like it comes from a place of just uncertainty. It's about their relationship with uncertainty. And I feel that this Seven of Wands is not letting what other their criticisms, thoughts, their intentions mess with your true intention. Be mindful of what you're receiving with that divine feminine power of your creation. I'm getting a Venus. I was just thinking about the Empress and thinking about Venus glyph and just that divine feminine power. And Venus, of course, deals with relationships and love, and I feel like it's like this is just reminding you to hold Sun card, hold the things that brighten you up, that lighten your. We lead with love. You lead with that intention. You receive that. Then all of the fears and all of the doubts, they don't have space for that because there's only one truth, and that's your truth. This everything else is just extra, and that's what I feel. This Sun here is shining a light on your truth and trying to get you in this new state of wanting to almost like kind of play with your imagination. That's interesting. Kind of play with your imagination a little bit with the or a lot of it with the Page of Cups. This for me, this definitely gives me goes like kind of Pisces energy, and so. There's something about a new start with this Page of Cups here. Maybe if you've had something where you had an inspiration here recently, or just in general that maybe it got dismissed, like maybe fueling some new light into something, and the Seven of Wands gives me this energy of boundaries. There are going to be energies, people that have thoughts, opinions, and things along those lines. That and letting that no one can. Like I feel like sometimes when someone gives like it, let's say like they give their 2 cents on something, it's like, well, yo, you made me doubt myself, and it's like, no, they didn't do that. They said something, and we allowed their words to bring in. We allowed their doubt and we took their doubt on as our own. And I feel like it's like no, like that's all you. You may not be able to do this, but it's not for you. This is for me to hatch. For me to grow. That's interesting. Let's get some advice from Mercury. Thanks, myself. All right, last little bit here. I love it. You got the Two of Cups and the King of Wands upright, and then you have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. And let's switch back over, because the Four of Pentacles here, I feel that this is you almost like kind of hoarding your ideas a little bit. This is just you kind of holding your visions in and not allowing them to come outside of yourself. This is the Sun in Capricorn. And I feel that, sometimes when Capricorn's thinking about what it wants to be and things, that there's a certain part that it's like there's a certain part that has to. It's like when you decide maybe to become like a parent, for example, then the part of that single part of you is setting. Like that chapter is ending. Or when you decide to take on a career, all right, now this whole, now I'm taking on more responsibility. Like this whole, maybe I'm used to someone providing for me. Now I need to provide for myself. That chapter is closing, and I feel like there's this thing here of. It's like a tapping into your gifts type of energy. The King of Wands, it's got a lot of fire. You got a lot of fire here. Knight of Wands, King of Wands are rushing towards the Sun. I feel that's interesting. I got this energy how this King of Wands is playing with this bird. Just like you're playing with fire right now. You got a lot that you can cook up here. You want this bird, you want this thing, and it's just like. That's very interesting. Yeah, it's like you want this thing and it's not moving. I feel like it's there for you. But I do feel that fire. There's something about that fire, how it is rushing up. I feel that it's a jump while the inspiration's hot. Do this while you have that, because it can be hard I feel like, to kind of muster up that strength when the energy is somewhere else. Especially kind of when you're thinking about the void of course. So let's say if you don't start up something, the Two of Cups here. gives me this gives me this idea, or gives me this kind of this feeling of, if you if you're feeling inspired by something, if you have this intention, you're wanting to, bring a bigger sense of yourself forward here, want more for yourself, to retrieve what is kind of yours here. I feel, reflect, especially during that void of course, reflect on what are something, what rituals does my higher self do? So if I want to, maybe I'm wanting to join the Olympics, maybe, okay, what do Olympics people do? What do I need to do for that? What do I need to do for my body? I need to learn a lot about my body. I got to do this thing. I'm going to have to do some training. I'm going to have to do this. I may have to get a coach. I may have to whatever. This, a number of things. But it's I feel like this almost is Two of Cups. I even feel, if you're not sure what your vision is, the Two of Cups, I feel like, is just like holding a space for that right now. Just like in not allowing it to, not to force yourself to be in any one thing, to just see what comes to you intuitively, what kind of comes to you naturally. This Ace of Cups to this Two of Cups. You got a lot of Wands and Cups energies here. A couple, but for the most part, that's the kind of the bigger energies that are coming through this Wands and Cups. So I feel like it's a feeling and then an acting type of energy. And then letting that, fueling more of that fire in you and seeing what can, because there's something mysterious that's coming through here, something that you're trying to birth here. So I'm with it. I think I'm going to leave that there. But I'm getting something to maybe nurture that. Two of Cups. Nurture. I'm strong nurture energy with this. This is this egg here. This is something precious. You're some precious, Cancer. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this if you know someone who may resonate with this. And subscribe there, you son. Yeah, that's right. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit. If you want to come on to my other channels if you want to see what's going on with the other planets, the celestial chit chat that's going on in the sky. I do weekly videos there every Mercury day. That's Wednesdays. And I'm getting back on track. I haven't been necessarily feeling inspired with it, so I'm not gonna force it, but it's been kind of on my mind. I think it's because I've been doing some reading here recently that I wanted to bring in what I've been learning in my thoughts to this. But I do other little videos too. They come out randomly, and they're just about different planetary placements. And if you happen to have those placements, the goal is to me talking about it, and then if you have that, talk about your experience with it, because I without having the chart in front of me, I'm just speaking in general. So tell me how it's actually coming to fruition, how you've really been working with these energies, and if you know someone who's worked with these energies, and if enough videos give them that activity, I would love to make a live out of it. Is what that's my ultimate goal, to kind of like talk on that more, so I can answer your questions just kind of in real time there. Maybe we can have some chart examples up. So it could be a really fun old time. So all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get you a surprise card here. Yeah, I feel like a little more organized. And I got this ritual that I'm meaning to work into, and it's in doing other things, we're getting there. But let me get you a surprise card. All right, we're getting two here, Cancer. Thank you, divine self. All right. Oh, how interesting! How very organized of Virgo. So you got in the order they came out. You got the 49th. Well, no, I guess technically the way they landed, 48th and 49th card here. So that's something interesting. But you have the Poised card and you have the Observer card here. Now with this Poised card, I feel like this is you. This gives me an energy of you being in your energy. Kind of or more so with this observer, it's like not just being in your energy, but observing yourself in your energy. And when you, how, notice the moments when you're more poised and when you're not, and when you kind of lose, and then just observe that, and this could be little things, maybe there's something in the house that's been, I'm not quite sure what that is, but there's something about like a paying attention to when something happens, when you react to something. Are you being reactive or proactive? One, and I'm even getting an energy too where somewhere we may have been maybe forcing ourselves to be poised. Maybe you've been forcing yourself. It's almost, that's interesting. It's almost like you have this dragon here. It's like maybe you've been thinking, been kind of sitting here, kind of sitting pretty, but you got all this new ideas. It's like you're not giving yourself enough credit here, or something like that. It's like I'm getting, it's like that poised is like kind of like almost like enough of playing a part or something along those lines here. That's interesting too. And I mean, that makes sense. The sun's here, the sun's still in Leo. So this could be where maybe see what you've been putting your values into. Have you been doing this poised thing, or are you ready to stay? Are you tired of being poised? Are you ready to be King of Wands, Knight of Wands, and just kind of run free there, do your own type of thing? Go create some stuff there. Maybe your vision, maybe this poised, maybe that's something too. Maybe we've been worried about other people, like what other people are going to think, that other people are watching what you're doing and that they're judging or something. And let them watch. Good. Let them watch and marvel look at this fox marveling at the moon. I feel that if you have an opinion about other people's creations, what are you creating? That's the thing. So I see, I remember thinking like if someone's like, oh, like their music is this and that or the third. I get if a song doesn't resonate with you, that's one thing. But if we're insulting someone's creative gifts, it's just like, well, what are you creating? And that's no critiques about that. Just what are you creating, and how are we showing off your skills? So that might even be something too. At least the person put themselves out there to be judged. But and that's not the point. But it's silly done. But so that's another thing that's coming through there. So a lot of thoughts on that, some things to think through, but make sure that the vision that you're holding, or I invite you to the vision that you're holding, is it your own? And just some things to think about. So, well, before we get out of here, I want to send you off with an affirmation. So, we're going to do the ones for right condition. I got an affirmation here from this amazing book, the Game in Life and How to Play It, Florence Scovel Shinn. This I feel is a great energy while Saturn is in Pisces right now, or for why I still have that a little bit longer. Getting into this practice because things are changing. Things are changing. I'm thinking about, but for the right conditions. Every plan my Father in heaven has not planned shall be dissolved and dissipated, and the divine idea now comes to pass. And so it is. So send that I send you off with that there, with that affirmation there, Cancer. So hopefully that raises your vibration some. Hopefully a whole bunch. But till we talk together next time. Keep eyes on the moon. Keep raising that vibration. Seize the day and the night. And I will catch you on the next one. We're going to catch you. Wait, Jupiter Day. Oh, yeah, Jupiter Day.